What's up, guys? Today I just wanted to have a little more of a candid conversation and update you guys on what's going on in my head. Everything that happened after Colombia and the divorce and how I feel about love. Divorce is a lot rougher than a lot of people think. Nothing really prepares you for all the sadness and depression that comes afterwards. I think for a lot of people, their first reaction after getting a divorce is to go out and party and to meet a bunch of people, sleep around, experience everything that you didn't when you were married. I got married because of all the craziness that I experienced before I got married. So I was looking for like stability and one woman that I can be with and count on. I mean, when I was in Colombia, I had a couple of girlfriends that didn't turn out the way that I wanted to. I freaking got that Venezuelan girl pregnant, and that was a whole entire episode of my life. I really wanted to change my life for the better. I was 26 at the time. Young. I'm still young. I'm 29 now. I felt that getting married was the right thing to do at the time. And looking back, I was very young to do it. I take full responsibility of my decisions and all the mistakes that I made. But I do think in a lot of ways, really thinking about it, finding myself in the church and that cult and, those people bringing me in when they did, I was like the prime candidate for a cult. And I think that they influenced me a lot in my decision making, and you guys could even see it in my content for what kind of woman that I wanted and me wanting to get married and be a part of this church. Like I was very, very heavily influenced by those people. And now that I'm older, I realize that I should have probably been alone during that time, and really, instead of trying to escape all of my problems by getting married, try to really think and figure out all the reasons why I made those mistakes in the first place. And that's the approach that I'm trying to take now. I'm in no rush to really be in a relationship anytime soon. I think when people ask me, are you happy that you're a free man now? It's kind of a loaded question because I'm not happy to be divorced. Well, I mean, technically the divorce isn't final yet, so we're still technically married, but I think about my wife quite a bit. And then sometimes, pictures of us together pop up, and it just reminds me of a previous life, a different time. I don't regret the decision at all, because I think as a man, you have to be able to stand up at a certain point and know when to walk away. And I remember I was watching a lot of Andrew Tate videos at the time to give me the courage to be able to walk away. That's one of the reasons why I really like his content, even though I don't agree with a lot of what he says. I think he really gives men the confidence to be okay with having self-respect and stand up for what they really believe in. I think the last 6 months were a big vacation roller coaster of a journey, because I was traveling so much. I went to Thailand, I went to Vietnam, I went to the Philippines. They were very awesome because I got to explore and really learn a lot about my culture again, which was very nice. But now that I'm in one place for an extended period of time here in Poland, and especially during the winter with the weather and me just staying in my apartment, really just gives me a lot more time to just think on the divorce and love and all the mistakes that I've made. And I'm not gonna lie, like these last few weeks, it's been quite rough. I think all the bad, sad emotions are finally getting to me. I really loved her. It really just makes me sad, like when all of that went down, all the accusations that they threw at me, that I went there just to sleep with her and bounce, or I married her just for the papers, or I was a liar, or I was abusing her, or like just all the stuff that they just invented out of nowhere to paint me as the bad guy so they could go and talk shit about me and all that stuff. And especially coming from my wife. That to me is what hurt me the most. When we were having our issues, she didn't stand up for me or try to defend me. She actually was the one who threw me under the bus. That action is the thing that has really messed me up through all of this. I thought that I was getting a wife who was a good Christian woman, who I could trust, who would put the family and the household above everything, because that's what they're taught in the Christian faith. And that's why I initially bought into the whole entire church. And I was like, you know what, if this is the kind of wife that I'm going to get, I already believe in God. I'm living in a relatively Christian way, so you know what, I think I can get involved with this church. If I'm going to be getting a good Christian wife, then I will happily be the Christian man that she needs. But then over the course of the marriage, I realized, dang, that's not who I am. I am not that Christian man. I am a free spirit with a very open mind who likes to explore ideas and experience new things. And looking back, I don't think my ex-wife was that. I think she loved the idea of traveling. I mean, because every girl loves traveling, right? Like, if you offer any girl, hey, if we get married and you're with me, you don't have to work and we're just gonna travel the world together, I'm gonna make content. Every girl will say yes to that, right? Like, that's just such an easy proposition. When I had those conversations with my wife and she said yes to all of that, I interpreted it as she was as open-minded as I was, but I think she was just excited or open to the lifestyle and the traveling and all these benefits that I would have provided to her. I don't think she used me, but looking back, honestly, I don't think she loved me the same way that she has loved some of her other boyfriends. And I don't think she loved me the same way that some of my other girlfriends have loved me. There was one specific girlfriend that my mom still follows on Instagram. I don't understand why they still talk. You know, it's so interesting. It was a girlfriend that I had when I was 21 and she was 18. So it was like 8 years ago. We were together for almost 2 years. And I asked my mom, why did you love her so much? Like, what was it about her that stood out from the rest of my girlfriends? And my mom said that, well, she was just always there. You know, every success that you had, when you had the barbershop concerts and when you competed and you got the gold medal, when you passed your real estate exam, she was just always there and super supportive. She always made it a point to talk to my mom and build a relationship with my mom. I never realized that, but I think that was the girlfriend that really loved me the most and loved me in the way that I wanted to be loved, even though at the time I just wasn't ready for it yet. And obviously I'm not gonna get back with her because we're both different people now, and I'm not trying to chase like those previous memories, but I don't think my ex-wife really loved me like that. So why did I get married to her knowing that that was the case? I had so many problems going on in my life at the time. I became quite dependent on my wife in that community, and I was just very afraid to lose all of that. I think it was because of that I acted the way that I did, and I chose to marry her even though it was not the best decision. I don't regret doing it at all because it eventually brought my whole entire family back together, and I'm super grateful for that because I don't think that there was any other way that my family could have reconnected like that. God works in mysterious ways. I don't question it. I just had to go through a very tough marriage in order to get there. And this is why through all of this, a lot of people ask me about my faith and religion. My faith for God has not gone away. God has spoken to me ever since I was young in the form of my intuition, and every time I pray, He always answers my prayers and responds to me and tells me what I have to do. So my connection with God is really strong. I just don't really believe in the institute of religion anymore. It is very disheartening when I talk about religion, seeing all the hate comments that I get from Christians or these people who are trying to be more righteous than me and tell me how to live my life. That's the one thing that I've always hated about religious people, and I noticed that most religious people are hypocrites. I read this quote somewhere that prayer is not about trying to get God to do what you want, but trying to change the heart of that who's praying. I remember several instances with my ex-wife where I would be in the lounge and I would maybe be doing something that she didn't approve of, and then she would just pray super loudly, crying to God, trying to change me, change my heart, change the way that I do things. And I just always felt so disgusted by it because I felt like she was cursing me. It was just such a weird experience, praying so hard to change me. But I'm like, why don't you change yourself? Why don't you become a more Christian wife? Why don't you become a more Christian person? It was actually at one of those moments where I realized that I was in a very bad situation. Just spending time with the people of that cult and that church, I just realized that, man, Christians are no better than anybody, but they like to pretend be more righteous than other people just to the fact that they believe that Jesus exists. To me, as a man, I think actions speak a lot louder than words. When people believe that they are more righteous because of what they believe, not because of how they act, it always rubs me the wrong way. I'm all about actions. I'm not gonna be out there praising to God or singing and just like shouting and to be like, God is the best, Jesus is the best. Like, cause to me, that doesn't change people's minds, which doesn't change people's hearts. What really changes people's hearts is seeing you live what you're preaching to other people and by being an example to other people. And that's the biggest takeaway that I got from Christianity and Jesus, is that He didn't really proclaim that He was the Son of God. It was through his actions and all the good deeds that he did that all of his disciples and everybody claimed that this guy was the Messiah. Everything that I say on my channel, I do my best to live that in my own life. I would never tell somebody to do something that I would not do in my own life. And I value my word heavily instead of just trying to cast judgment on other people. And I may have done that in the past. I just understand that everybody's in their own journey now. And I think that divorce has really made me realize, like, dang, okay, first off, marriage is complicated. Nobody really knows what they're doing. In this journey of life that we're all going through, we're all just trying to figure it out together. I don't have a bad opinion of women. I think a lot of men get hurt or burned by one relationship, and then all of a sudden they hate all of the people of the opposite gender. I think men and women are like this. My viewpoint is that I just chose the wrong person, but I still believe that there are many good women out there. And that's why I had to unsubscribe to a lot of this red pill content, because it just became too negative and doom and gloom for me. I don't know if I want to get married again. It really depends on the person that I meet in the future. It's not really a huge priority for me anymore. It's really just about trying to get my life back together, organize my life, get my health in check, get my fitness in check, get my finances in check. God will know when it is the right time for me to find a partner, and then he will bring that partner to me when I need it, not when I want it, because God is the only one that knows best. I personally wish that more people took a break and a breather in between relationships, because I think that it's really in solitude and silence where you can learn the most about yourself. I'm just really studying and trying to figure out who I am as a person. Now that I'm approaching 30, I have a better idea of who I am. I heard this quote that I found was very powerful, is that life is not about becoming who you want to be, it's about discovering who you are. And I think when I got married the first time, I was in that process of discovering who I am. But instead of asking myself those questions, I went looking for those answers in other people or in a religion or something else. Something I really love about travel is that the more that I learn about life in other cultures, the more I find that I really know myself, all the things that I like, all the things that I don't like, things about other cultures that I really resonate with, but things that I don't. Yeah, divorce is not fun. Instead of looking for love from external sources, I really have to find that within myself first. And I think that's probably the hardest thing that any human could do.